It's the hulking super teen draft of 2023.
Freezing temperatures are likely for several hours inland and a few hours closer to the coast.
Yes.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on in to Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. You may notice that I am not your host, Zach Blackerby. He is at home with his wife and his lovely second child, Lydia. Best wishes to the family. I am Lindsay Crosby, writer for AuburnDaily.com, also host of Locked On MLB Prospects. And I am joined by the message board legend himself, Charlie Five, here for a Monday edition of Charlie Tuesday. And the reason I wanted to bring you in, Charles V, is we had a lot of players on campus over the last week, a lot of recruits, and
big time.
We just big name players, some of the top players in all the surrounding states. And so what I want to do is we have a list. You and I have a list of all the players that were here, and we are doing the first ever Locked On Auburn hulking super team draft. Where we are going to alternate picks, and we are going to decide this is the guy that I want. If I can pick one player or if I can pick two or whatever. I'm going to go first because I'm hosting the show and you can't stop me.
Before we do this, I just want to let everybody know what's fun about this is not a pie in the sky bunch of teams right here. This is guys that are highly interested in Auburn that probably never even had a chance until this new staff came along. A lot of kids that are committed elsewhere. We got number one recruits in states, 3 to be exact, that were here. So this is not just a, hey, let's just throw out 5 stars. This is dudes that we have a very good shot at landing. And this is so much fun. This show is going to be so dope. I can't wait for this.
Yeah. This is not like, oh, let me just go down the top listings for players and just throw darts.
They've been here.
Shot. Yeah. They have been on campus in the last week and a half.
7 days. Yes.
They were in the same city as me and Charlie Five. And they were here talking to Hugh Freeze and the staff about what they could do at Auburn. I'm going to lead it off. This is a little bit cheating because he is technically already committed, but my number one overall pick in the 2023 hulking super team draft will be quarterback Walker White from Little Rock, Arkansas, from Little Rock Christian Academy.
Safe pick, franchise quarterback. Really step out there.
He came in on Friday, March 17th. Listen, the number one pick in the draft is almost always a quarterback. That's just how it works financially. But listen, so think about the situation you're going to be in. He's going to be here in 2024. That is somewhere where you are theoretically not going to have TJ Finley anymore. You've already lost Zach Calzada. You will have on campus, if everything else stays the same, you will have Robbie Ashford. You will have Holden Gariner. You will have Hank Brown. That will be your entire quarterback room. Now, obviously, this is assuming there's no movement in the portal, and I think we're both pretty confident something's going to happen. But we can't predict that. We don't know who it's going to be. So I am saying my number one pick, I want a quarterback because I want to make sure that we have the talent that we need to compete in the SEC. And everything revolves around the quarterback position. And when you watch him, he's a guy that he threw for almost 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns last year. He rushed for like 850 and 16 touchdowns. So he's not the same style of runner as Robbie Ashford, but he's more than willing to go out and get the yards that you need. And more importantly, get it in the end zone. And I think that's an element you have to have that. Very critical. I can't pick anybody else over Walker White, the son of Amy White, and hopefully the savior of Auburn football going forward.
Bless her. Number two, my number one pick, and I got this guy for 3 reasons. Okay. Another highly sought after position in drafts is pass rushing specialists. Okay. I'm going with Jordan Ross, 4-star, top 100 edge player from Vestavia, Alabama. 6'5", 220, runs a 4.6. And let me tell you the three reasons I like him. Number one, I like the frame. 6'5", 220, coming off the edge. Love it. Number two, state of Alabama kid. Love that. Birmingham on top of that. Let's get in there. Let's get some studs from Birmingham. And here's number 3. He's got loose lips. He likes to tell secrets. I like it. He goes to practice and he says, hey, y'all, let me tell you something. Keldrick Falk killing everybody. I love that. Hey, you want to spill the secrets? I'm on board with you. Jordan Ross, tell us everything. He said nobody could stop Keldrick Falk. He's dominating everybody. That got me excited. That came from auburnlive.com, and heard some other people talk about it. It was like he was starstruck. He couldn't believe how big and how dominant Keldrick Falk was. So I'm going Jordan Ross, number 1 pick.
So you and I are both kind of building around a cornerstone. For me, it's the offense. It's the passing offense. For you, it's stopping the passing offense. Makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Our two teams are going to be matched up pretty well here. For my second pick in the 2023 Hulking Super Team Draft, I am going to go with a position where Auburn fans have been asking for improvement for the last few years, and you're in a situation you just took multiple transfers because you weren't happy with what you had there. I'm going with linebacker.
Oh.
And what I want, it feels like it's a little early for a linebacker. You don't typically see really high picks for linebacker in the NFL, but I think
don't take him.
I think Joseph Phillips from Tuskegee, Alabama, the 4-star from just up the road. I think he is the type of athlete that kind of just transcends the typical, it's a linebacker. They're kind of limited in what they can do. He's got the speed to move sideline to sideline, which is something you've had in guys before. Owen Papo had plenty of speed, but he does it in a frame, 6'3", 235. So he has more of the size, more of the beef to take on a block in the hole, take on a pulling guard, something like that, and still make a play. And it feels like that was the element that you were missing from the linebackers last year. But the other reason I'm taking him, like, positionally, is if you look at the linebacker room now, you've got Cam Riley, who is a senior in 2023. Wes Steiner, senior. Eugene Asante, senior. Desmond Tisdale, senior. Cameron Brown, senior. Jake Levant, junior. And then after that, Austin Keys, junior, may or may not be here. DeMario Tolan is a sophomore. 2024 may be his last year on the Plains. 2023 may be his last year, like, depending on how well he plays. And so you're going to need reinforcements in that room. I want to take a top-level linebacker and stick him in there.
I love it. And I think he's very flexible. I think he could probably play. He could slide down and come off the edge as well. Like, he's a stud. He's going to be probably a top 100 player, one of the top players in Alabama. I love it. And he's right up the road, just like you said. Love that pick.
It feels like it's very easy for you get him on campus, and then you can adjust him based on where you need him roster wise. You can size him up a bit and move him to edge. You can leave him there. I feel like there's a lot of flexibility with him, and it's super cheap for an unofficial visit because he's up the road. So that helps.
Yep. I'm pretty bummed. I was going to trade up so I could have two freaky dudes coming off the edge after you, but you got him. I knew I should have done it. All right. So my number 2 pick, the number 1 recruit in the state of Mississippi, Kamarion Franklin. He came in on Wednesday, I believe. Big. I mean, when you talk hulking super team, when you go 6'5", 270 defensive lineman, that's the epitome of that. That is the epitome of hulking super team. So I'm going. Number 1, I think it's cool. We already talked about Walker White, the number 1 recruit in the state of Arkansas. We had the number 1 recruit, Kamarion Franklin, the number 1 recruit in the state of Mississippi, and then we had another number 1. I'm sure somebody's going to draft here in the next couple of picks, but there's a theme of trenches. If you go and look through all the people that visited, tons of offensive linemen, interior, outside offensive linemen, and tons of defensive linemen all the way across the board, from tackles to ends to edges, and all of them are higher rated guys. Very excited that we could get this kid on campus, and we made a big impression. He raved on the visit. So Kamarion Franklin, big boy, number 2 pick.
Number 2 pick. And when we're talking about high picks and we're talking about where to leave some of this stuff, like, I need folks to know right now The Built Bar March Madness bracket is here. Whoa. I know that you have a favorite bar or puff, Charlie 5. I know that there's a flavor that is just your absolute favorite, and it is
peanut butter.
Peanut butter. There we go. So here's the time to make that count. Go to builtmarchmadness.com and vote for your favorites. Personally, I am voting for the churro.
Okay.
Churro is where it's at. And so like the way this works, go vote for that bar, support your team, support your bar or puff. When you vote for your favorite bar or puff, again, that's builtmarchmadness.com, you're entered in a drawing where 50 lucky Locked On listeners get a free box of Built, and one fan gets a 12-month subscription to Built. We're talking about hulking super teens. One of the biggest parts of being a hulking super teen is the nutrition, and Built bars. 130 calories, 17 grams of protein. They're good for you. They help with all of this. You've got to try it. It's the best protein bar ever. So, builtmarchmadness.com right now. Vote for your favorite bar or puff. While you're there, pick up a box. Go for it. You can vote every day in March. So hop in and support your pick. And then talking about picks, I'm in a tough situation here because there's two guys that I really want, and I think you're going to take one of them. So I'm going to call an audible. I'm going to swap my board around a little bit.
Uh-oh.
My third overall pick in the 2023 Hulking Super Team Draft is safety KJ Bolden out of Buford, Georgia. Five-star recruit, number 1 safety in the country, number 1 recruit in the state of Georgia. And this is something where Buford is one of the top high school programs in the country. You know, I went to high school in Georgia. Everybody knows about them. There's schools that are looking at him as a safety, schools looking at him as a wide receiver. He was a top 10 in the 100-yard dash in the state as a freshman. He helped the 4x100 relay team set a state record his sophomore year. Like, he's one of those athletes, those unusual athletes that is incredibly fast, can still hit really well, and can just eat up tons of ground. And to me, it feels like he's kind of an eraser for you, right? You're looking at your passing defense. You're looking at, I need somebody who can play over the top, who can drop into
lurker.
He could drop in the middle third. He can sit there. He can, do a shorter zone and steal something from a tight end and up the seam, whatever. KJ Bolden's that guy. And it's another situation where when you look at the defensive backs, you have so many defensive backs who are juniors or seniors or who are going to be draft eligible that could leave. And he feels like he might be one of the rare freshmen who could come in and just kind of play right away and play on day one. He's that talented and he's that athletic.
I love this kid. I call him lurkers. He's the dude. He's the dude. Like, he's just back there, and he's going to be in. He's just going to be back there lurking. He's going to be in on every play. Range for days. You already talked about his speed. Big buds already with Walker White. Like, Walker must have like a photo lineup of all these dudes because like he beelines for this kid as soon as he gets to the the hotel or wherever they're all staying.
Is that my number 1 draft pick, Walter White? Is that
he is a great it's a great pick. It's a great pick.
Thank you.
So I love this kid. He says his visit to Auburn was everything. He loved the environment, loved the coaches, loved Zach Etheridge. Like everybody that ever talked to Zach Etheridge, he says he's definitely coming back and coming back soon. Wouldn't be shocked to see if he's back for A-Day.
That's part about Zach Etheridge. Doesn't have an H in his name. Go ahead.
Not one single.
ZAC, and that's it, baby. Let's go.
That's it. So, yeah, great pick. I'm a little bit bummed about that. I was going defense heavy. But I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to go skill right here. Here. And I really like this kid from Foley. And I said it before. His name's Perry Thompson, wide receiver, 4-star wide receiver. He's going to be my number 3 pick. 6'3", 205. Which sounds like every wide receiver that ever played for Freeze at Ole Miss. Like it seemed like Freeze would go find and clone kids that like 6'3", 200 pounds. I swear. It's like there was just one after the other. He seems like a prototype Hugh Freeze wide receiver. He's committed to Alabama, but he straight up said, this is a weird thing to say. I feel like if I was going to go somewhere else, it would be Auburn. Like that doesn't very committed. You know what I mean? That does not sound like I'm very, very committed. He's been here a bunch. I feel really good about this kid. I think more than likely we end up flipping him, and you got another franchise type wide receiver right there. Almost ready to play day one. You're talking Camden Brown size day one. He's Camden Brown size right now. And he's Foley's a good program, plays tough. That's a tough region, plays tough schools, all those Mobile schools. Kid can play. Love me some Perry Thompson.
Yeah, and that's a situation. The wide receiver room is definitely something where you look at the roster now, same kind of situation. You have a lot of guys. You have Javarius Johnson's a redshirt senior. He'll be gone. Malcolm Johnson Jr. at 24. He's gone. Coy Moore is a junior. I think so. Last year of eligibility is 24. Tavares Dawson could still be around. Cam Brown may still be around. If he pops the way we expect him to, he'll get drafted after 2024. And so you're looking at like a Jay Fair, Omari Kelly. There's not a ton of options. Maybe Decavius Story. Not a ton of guys. And so I see the intrigue behind adding a guy like a Perry Thompson. I actually was also going to add a wide receiver, and I swapped my third and my fourth. And so the guy that I want to add for my fourth overall pick here, or the eighth pick, this is what, the seventh pick in the draft. My fourth pick is Braylon Burnside, the wide receiver out of Starkville, Mississippi. 6'1", 195, similar thing, has the size. Top 30 recruit in the country as far as wide receivers go. One of the top players in Mississippi. A small part of me, a very small part of me, wants him because he's committed to Ole Miss. I don't know if that makes me a bad person or if that just makes it like, but a small part of me is like, yeah, no, take him away from Lane. It's fine. But it's a scenario where, again, another one of those larger frame, a little bit of time to add a little bit of weight and strength, and you're in a situation where you have a target that you can go to down the field as well as can work intermediate, gives you a lot of options in the passing game. And it's been hard for me to pick that one wide receiver in the class. I liked Thompson and you took him, but to me, Burnside feels like he's a good candidate to be somebody who could take a big leap his senior year and then explode in a Hugh Freeze offense.
Love it. Great pick. Love these wide receivers that were on campus. There's a couple of others that are along the same lines as far as like body type of player. So wide receivers definitely seem like we may not be taking a ton, but we're taking quality, it looks like, or we're going after quality. So love it. So my number, what pick is this? 4?
This is the
number. Yeah. My number 4 pick is the hulkiest of hulking super teens, I believe, that was on campus this past week. 4-star offensive tackle from Roswell, Georgia, Walton High School, Daniel Calhoun, 6'6.5". I love that. 6.5, 6'6.5", not 6'7", not 6'6".
The half an inch matters.
It matters. It always does.
Yes.
350. 350. Big whopping child.
That is literally a hulking super teen.
That is the hulkiest super teen that could possibly be on this list. No, what do we always talk about before offensive tackle recruiting? You got a top 4-star offensive tackle that was here, was blown away by the facilities, raved about the facilities, raved about Jake Thornton, the offensive line coach, said he met him like in the parking lot, couldn't even hardly get in the building. They're meeting him outside. And then this is the key, and this is kind of a feather in your hat, Lindsay. Walker was on me the whole day, he says. That really shows he wants me. So, again, we got Walker White with his most wanted list, photo lineup. He knows who he wants. He knows he's got to have guys to block for him. Walker meeting this guy in the parking lot. That's big. That's big for me. He's going to try to come back for a visit, for a game and an official visit. So Auburn's up there is what he says. So big time, just big. That's all you can say about that pick. Just big all the way around.
Big hulking super team, that's what you need. Obviously, offensive tackle recruiting out of high school was a sore spot for, a decade now. And so it's nice to see, yes, we've got a big boy on this list to bring in. And speaking of big, there is a big basketball event going on right now. I apologize in advance if this is too soon for you, but the NCAA tournament is heating up. Now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And here's why. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. So download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Safe, secure, super easy to use. You can bet on everything. Money line, point scores, threes drained. You've got all the core markets in there. Your spread, your money line, your total. You've got player props. It's not just points. It's rebounds. It's assists. And they have something pretty cool. This is a fun one to track, even for a game you don't care about. It's called the 2x3. You know what the 2x3 is, Shirley Five?
No, but I'd love to know.
The 2x3 is, will there be 2 3-pointers scored in the first 3 minutes? It is like nice and quick. You knock it out of the way early. It is a great way to open a game that you normally would not care about, is the 2x3. And then what's great is all of these props, you can combine all of these for the chance at a bigger payout with a same game parlay. So don't miss your chance to get your no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. It's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more and make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm Lindsay Crosby. This is Charlie 5. We are here covering for Zach Blackerby, whose wife had a baby. And so we are doing the hulking super team draft. Zach has chosen baby girls with his first 2 picks, but we have chosen football recruits that were on campus in the last week. Kind of recapping where we are in the draft so far. My picks, I drafted quarterback Walker White, #1 overall. Linebacker Joseph Phillips from Tuskegee with the 3rd overall pick, my second pick in the draft. Safety KJ Bolden out of Georgia. And then wide receiver Braylon Burnside. You have taken edge Jordan Ross.
Yep.
You have taken defensive lineman Kamarion Franklin. You have taken wide receiver Perry Thompson and offensive tackle Daniel Calhoun. So we are in a situation, I am very much playing in a 7x7 passing skeleton kind of thing here. You are very much running the Oklahoma drill right now. There is no way that my team with 1 draft pick can catch up to the size, the absolute girth that you have, the girth that you have in this team between your edge, your defensive lineman, your offensive tackle. And so I'm going to double down on the whole concept of just going with this passing thing. And I'm going to get
going Fairleigh Dickinson on me, aren't you? The smallest team in the
I thought about it. He was on my short list. He was on my
Fairleigh
short list.
Dickinson, the 16 seed. They're the shortest team beat Purdue, the tallest team. That you're going speed and quickness. I love it.
Exactly. I am taking Jameer Grimsley, the cornerback out of Tampa Catholic. He is now. It's going to be, people are going to ask questions. He's only a 3-star in the class of 2024, but here's why I want Jameer Grimsley. A couple reasons. One, he's 6'2", 185. So he's got that extra length that has proven to be very key for a lot of these successful Auburn defensive backs who have the longer wingspan, can do a better job of getting in, knocking things away. Here's the second reason that I want to take Jameer Grimsley. His coach in high school, Jarris McIntyre, who was part of the undefeated 2004 team. So I feel like we have a little bit of an in already, right?
Keep that pipeline open.
Exactly. The last thing I want to do is take a guy and not be able to sign him. This is the MLB guy in me. I don't want to draft somebody and not be able to sign him. So I'm drafting Jameer Grimsley because I feel confident that we can get him on campus. His coach is an Auburn alum. He's already been to practice 4 times this spring. He loves Auburn. He's got offers out there from other big name schools, Penn State, Florida State, things like that, including his hometown USF. But he wants to come to Auburn. Primary recruiters, Cadillac Williams, obviously has the defensive back coaches there as well. I'm taking Jameer Grimsley with my 5th pick and my final pick in the hulking super team draft.
I love it. I love it. My final pick in the Hulking Super Team draft from Hoover High School, 4-star linebacker Bradley Shaw. When is the last time Auburn? I guess Shed was a great player, but like you go out and get a stud from Hoover that made an impact. I can't think of one. I know we've hit some at Spain Park. But Bradley Shaw is an absolute freak show linebacker. Mm-hmm. He's 6'6.5". Remember, the half inch matters. It matters. 220 pounds, and he can absolutely motor. He can absolutely fly. Like when they say sideline to sideline, this dude is the epitome of sideline to sideline. I think he's a track guy as well. Love this kid, love his film. Google him and put on his huddle and just sit back, eat some popcorn, and contain yourself because it's
watch
it
him
goes
wreck things.
Yes, it goes. He's gonna be Alabama's gonna be hard to beat. So this could be one of those where it's you want to be able to sign the guy.
You have some signability questions.
Questions, yeah. But when you get a kid like Walker White. When you beat Clemson out for a kid like Walker White, and there's already some and then you sit really tight or sit really good for Perry Thompson, could possibly flip him from Alabama. I just don't think anybody's off the table anymore. I don't think there's any recruit out there that's off the table because nobody's going to outwork Hugh Freeze. And if they want Bradley Shaw, they will do everything they can. They will outwork whoever it takes to give him every shot they have to get him. And that's what's exciting about this staff. So I'm going Bradley Shaw, my cleanup crew linebacker, head buster to round out my top 5. And I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm pretty sure I won.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure both weight wise and actual skill, you may have the edge girth, over me here. Just absolute girth. The thing, and I want to come back to something you said real quick about you don't feel like anybody's off the table. It is amazing how in such a short period of time, Auburn went from a situation where the fan base was, we were done. We were donezo. We were cooked. We were smoked. We thought this was done. This was over. We get a month of head coach Cadillac Williams. It brings back the fire and the passion in the fan base. And then we get head coach Hugh Freeze with assistant head coach Cadillac Williams recruiting their tails off. My favorite anecdote from the whole spring practice and everything was how they were talking about when spring practice started, they didn't really know their players that well because they had spent so much time recruiting new talent. Exactly. They had been out recruiting. I know somebody who works at the university who said they went to a Christmas party. I'm not going to name any names, but he said that he walked by, like he was walking through the football offices, and Hugh Freeze had left the party and was in his office calling recruits legally the night of the Christmas party. Like he's not, no recruiting violations here, but he was making a point to get the recruiting in. And so it's just, this is how things have changed. We can go in here, we can look at this entire list, and we can be confident that Auburn could pull any of these guys, pull them from an Alabama, pull them from a Georgia, pull them from a Penn State, whoever. It does not matter. Auburn's in it for all of these guys, and I absolutely love that. Charlie 5, where can people go to find you, love on you, everything like that?
Absolutely. You can find me on Twitter at _Charlie_5. The Locked On Auburn Discord. It's free. It's tons of fun. AuburnLive.com, the corner message board, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday on the Dad Bod Golf Pod.
I'm Lindsay Crosby. You can find me on Twitter at Crosby Baseball. All of my Auburn baseball writing, auburndaily.com. Also, if you're a Braves fan, bravestoday.com. That's a new thing me and Zach Blackerby are working on together. Until next time, this has been Locked On Auburn.